The Tech4ED Center Pandemic Resilience Award hopes to share the public how to deliver the services of Tech4ED Center without compromising the safety of the community and the Tech4ED Center managers. It aims to identify and recognize Tech4ED Centers who deliver services that have significant contribution to the society despite the growing public health threat. Award categories. All categories are open to all operational Tech4ED Centers in the country that are in existence for at least 1 year and must be operational during the implementation of Enhanced Community Quarantine and General Community Quarantine since March 2020 until the present. Categories are Social Welfare and Rehabilitation, Support for Teachers and Students, Rescue Operation and eGov Services. How to apply? The nomination should cover accomplishments made within the period of March 2020 until September 2020. Nomination for the award should be sent to secretariat@philsecnet.org with the subject 2020 Pandemic Resilience _TC insert Tech4ED Center name. Nomination period is on October 1 to 30, 2020. Deadline for the submission of nominees is on October 30, 2020, and the awarding for the ceremony is on November 26, 2020. Criteria for evaluation. Socioeconomic impact of the Tech4ED Center, 35%. Innovativeness, 30%. Productivity, 20%. Partnerships and networking, 15%, for a total of 100%.
You are now watching the 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference with the theme eCenters in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal. Today is our Webinar 3, Planning for eCenter Viability and Sustainability, September 3, 2020, streaming live over YouTube. Good morning! Maayong buntag, assalamualaikum. Buenos dias, magandang umaga. Welcome everybody to KEC 15. My name is Angel, your host for today. KEC is a gathering of community eCenter forerunners, Center of Excellence, ICT for Development enthusiasts, government and industry leaders, academe, and all involved in making ICT available to communities to exchange ideas, best practices, relevant solutions, and success stories. So good morning to all our participants today. I can see that we have participants joining us from Caloocan, Bukidnon, Biliran, Iligan, Mina Iloilo, Butuan, Zamboanga del Sur, Pangasinan, Laguna, Cebu, Aklan, Sarangani, and even India and Indonesia. Thank you for joining us today. This webinar is organized by the Philippine Community eCenter Network Incorporated, or PhilSecNet, in cooperation with the Department of Information and Communications Technology, DICT, with support from the University of the Philippines Open University, the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources Research and Development of the DOST, the local governments of Tayabas, Quezon, and San Remigio, Cebu, as well as the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication, with special thanks to our sponsors, PLDT and Quezon Power Limited. Let's watch these short infomercials.
Mahigit sa 20,000 na ang confirmed
ng PPE.
Isa sa ilalim na ang Metro Manila sa
wala na. Wala munang mga food court at fiesta. Meron namang lutong bahay. Wala munang window shopping. Meron namang free shipping. Wala munang happy hour. Pero may isang oras pa. Tulog pa tayo. Wala muna yung aircon at only coffee sa office. Pero andyan yung dream office mate natin. Biruin mo, wala munang quiz night, band night, samgyup night, pati videoke night. Pero meron ng time sa family night. Wala na munang pasyalan, wala na munang bakasyunan. Okay lang siguro mawala lahat ng yon. Huwag lang ito. Kasi may mga bagay na walang kapalit. May mas mahalaga ba dito? Wala. Rediscover what matters. Rediscover home.
Magandang umaga, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and other parts of the world. Thank you for joining us today. Send the link to your colleagues, drop your comments, and make this 2-hour session interactive. This year, KEC 15 goes virtual with a series of webinars every Thursday, 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. from August 20 to November 26, 2020. That's 3 months of knowledge sharing. And these webinars are absolutely free. It is PhilSecNet's contribution in the country's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic through enabling, strengthening, and facilitating the digital transformation of communities. To join, all you need to do is to register once. Okay, you only need to register once for the entire conference. If you have not registered yet, please find the link inside the description box below. To participate in the open forum, you will need to post your questions through an open forum form. Please find the link inside the description box below as well. We currently have, how many participants on YouTube, sir? 280. So we have almost 300 of you joining us today, and with your colleagues hopping in later, if you share the link, then we will have more than 300 or so participants joining us live. That means we will not be able to really catch up on your comments. That's why we have created a forum form or a question and answer form where you can type in your questions, and so that our speaker will be able to answer some, if not all of them. All right, so please post your questions not on the chat box, but on the open forum form that you will find in the description box below. All right, so you will also be receiving a certificate for attending this webinar online. So you only need to pass the short quiz and the evaluation for this webinar, and you will be receiving your certificate. So again, that will be found in the description box below. Okay, so are you still catching up with some opening reminders? If the opening reminders are well received, can you just comment down that you have noted them, and we all are on the same page. All right. So also, now the most exciting part of this webinar, not only the knowledge sharing, is that we will be giving raffle prizes. So anybody who wants to receive a raffle prize. So this week we will have 8 winners because 2 of the winners last week were not able to send us an email during the webinar. So hindi po nila na-claim. They were not able to claim the prize. So that's why I would like to emphasize today that for you to be able to claim your prize, you need to send us an email. Okay, you need to send secretariat@philsatnet.org an email with the subject raffle claim, your complete name, and your network provider. So our 8 winners are going to get cell cards worth 300 and worth 500 each. So that your prize will not get forfeited, please be sure to send us an email with the subject raffle claim, your full name, and the network. So all registered participants, since the start of this webinar last August 20 until today, will have the chance to win for the entire conference. Of course, if you are an active PhilSecNet member, you are qualified to win again in a raffle draw during the General Assembly on September 20, 2020. All right. So again, you don't need to register for each and every webinar. You just have to register once, and you will have access to the entire series, and you will get the chance to win in the raffle draw. Okay. So are we clear on that, everybody? Yes, it's so wow. Thank you, Miss Mercy. All right. So I think it's all clear now. Let's now start with our session proper. So for today's webinar, I would like to introduce to you our moderator, who will also be introducing our resource person. Our moderator started out as a teacher in high school and college. After shifting from his career from the academe to the IT industry, he got the chance to pursue leadership and management in business process outsourcing for 11 years. With dedication and perseverance, he became a civil servant and has been leading the Management Information Systems Division of DOST Picard for 6 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, the PhilSecNet Treasurer and Chairperson of the 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference, please welcome Dr. Richard E. Amansek.
Thank you, Angel, for that pleasant introduction. Welcome, everyone. For today's webinar, we'll be having part 2 of planning, particularly planning for eCenter viability and sustainability. By the end of this webinar, participants are expected to develop a strategic, viable, and sustainable plan for the eCenter, use the results of research and analysis to develop a viable enterprise plan, develop a strategic disaster risk management plan to address the potential risks of disasters, and involve all stakeholders in generating resources and planning activities. Without further delay, please allow me to introduce to you our resource person. Our resource person is a pioneer at Mauban eLearningville, a Tech4ED Center that was recognized as a Center of Excellence. Mauban eLearningville was also recognized for its gender and development programs. She was a TWG member for the Center's Manager's Handbook and has been the center manager of Mauban eLearningville since 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Conchita Marta B. Mirabueno.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Mula po sa Mauban E-Learningville, it is a Tech4ED Center or a community e-center which was established in September 21, 2011. We are on our 9th year anniversary this month, and this is the most challenging year for us at the Mauban E-Learningville. So please go with me as I share with you what is about planning for eCenter viability and sustainability. Planning is a competency supporting the performance of eCenter's development of strategic and sustainable plans. So planning is a very essential component of growth, viability, and sustainability. We cannot always just go with the flow. We need to plan, implement those plans to attain our mission and vision in whatever we want to do and in ever what we want to accomplish or wherever we want to go. Planning is just like making your roadmap to where you want to go, to the realization of your dreams. So to make a viable and sustainable plan, it is important for us to see first what the DICT National Competency Standard has set for center managers. So this one is for competency level 3 or for the maturity level or the highest level. So the performance indicators involved are the following. A, develop a strategic, viable, and sustainable plan for the eCenter. So that's what we are going to do. And B, conduct research and environmental scanning to identify opportunities and threats that may influence the eCenter's plans. C, develop a strategic disaster risk management plan to address the potential risk of disasters. D, make use of the results of research and analysis to develop a viable enterprise plan. So meaning it can be enterprising or it can earn an income or generate income. E, undertake global scanning for project partnership opportunities. And F, involve all stakeholders in generating resources and planning activities for eCenter programs and activities. So here are the underlying knowledge. First is strategic and enterprise planning. So do you want something that generates income? That's one. Stakeholders analysis. So who are your stakeholders? What can they help in your center? Then you have to have the gender analysis. Do you plan to cater services for men and women? So it's like gender and development, equal opportunities. Enterprise development, SWOT analysis, knowing your strength, weakness, opportunities, and trends. Then sustainability planning. How do you think you're going to last for 9 years or 10 or 20 years or so on and so forth? Resource mobilization. How do you plan to get resources needed for you to implement your plans? Knowledge management. How do you upscale your technical skills or your management skills? And business cycles won't always be on top. So business has a cycle that you have to know and to follow. Then monitoring and evaluation. So how do you monitor your progress or your services? And what do you do in the evaluation? And then disaster risk management. This is a very timely plan for us that we are now in the pandemic. Database management. How do you store your data? So in our case, we have started it from day one. Then communication skills. How do you communicate your services to the community, to your stakeholders, and to the world per se? And social entrepreneurship. So if you think that sorry, it has stopped. Okay. So viability means the ability to work successfully, and sustainability means that it is the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level So that is maintenance. To say that you have a sustainable program, meaning that you have sustained your center. Okay. So there are many strategic planning model processes that you can see in the internet, but this one I'd like to share with you. So the first step is to determine your mission. So if you have determined your mission already, then you go to identify your goals, understand your internal and external factors, then you have to perform your SWOT analysis and define your strategy. Okay? So how do we determine your mission or my mission? How do I determine that? So first of all, you have to answer this question. What is the need in my community? Or what is the need in your community? That could be based on research, environmental scanning, community clamor, or response to a community need. Because this is your mission. Your mission is what do you intend to give in your community? Okay, it should be something that is an answer to your community. For us in eLearningville, our mission is to have collaborative effort among players, partners in providing equal opportunities that answers the individual needs of its constituents with the effective and responsible use of ICT in making globally competitive constituents. So saying that it is a collaborative effort among players or partners, we have forged partnerships, and that's how we intended to be. We wanted to have a center that is not focused on an individual, to a certain individual, but we wanted it to be a partnership among players. And then we wanted to provide equal opportunities for all. So that is our mission. After identifying our mission or determining our mission, we then identified our goals. So to identify our goal, that will be our vision. So our vision in Mauban is to be the hub of ICT in Mauban that empowers men and women, that is gender sensitive, equally in leading both the young and adults to find their niche in globalization through the effective and efficient use of ICT. So here we have gender, then we have equality because of the young and adult, and we just don't want to teach them, but we want them to realize that they have to find their niche in globalization through the use of effective and efficient use of ICT. That's how we stated our goals. Then let's go now to the next process, and that is to understand our internal and external factors. So what are the available resources? Who are your stakeholders? And what is your time frame? These are very important, essential, because you cannot go on with your plan if you do not know the resources that you have. So you have to know, what are my resources? What are my current resources? And are they sufficient enough for me to implement my plans? If not, what are other resources that I needed? Then how can I have those resources that I needed? Then who are my stakeholders? So if you are in the LGU, your local chief executive, the Sangguniang Bayan, the department heads, those are your stakeholders. If you are at DepEd, so your division superintendent, your district supervisor, your co-teachers, the parents, the students, those are our stakeholders. Stakeholders are those people who have interest in our center. So depending on our community, we can identify our stakeholders. So it is also important that we know our time frame. Is the services or the product that I'm going to offer, when is it needed? Is it now? Is it in the future? And so on and so forth. So we have to identify that. Then we also have to know if, because time frame is very important. It is said na, sabi nga sa Tagalog na kasabihan, di ba, aanhin ng kabayo ang damo kung patay na ito. Something like that. So our services or our products that we offer should be timely given. So that's important. Okay. Next process is the SWOT analysis. In SWOT analysis, we have to know what are our strengths. What do you do well? What is your strength? So like, for example, what are you famous for? Your center, what is it? What are you known for? For example, in Mauban e-learningville, we are known as the center of learning. So when we say learning ICT, that is synonymous to e-learningville. So we have to know also what are our weaknesses, because what our weaknesses are the things that we need to improve. So like, for example, in our case, we need to improve in the area of programming. I do not know how to program, and I do not have somebody in the team who knows how to make programming. Okay. And then opportunities. What are our goals? What are the things that we can make? What are the things in the environment that we can offer? Those are opportunities. Then we go to threats. Threats are the obstacles that we face. So if we lack resources, that could be a threat also. At this time, one of the threats would be COVID-19. So it is important that we conduct SWOT analysis, because here we will know our strength. We have to list them down one by one. Every strength, we have to list it down. Then every weakness, we have to list it down. Opportunities, we have to list it down, and so on and so forth as to threats. So in my case, in Mauban e-learningville, probably my strengths are as follows. We have a very supportive local chief executive. We have a bigger space now. It is conducive to learning. It is a quiet place. We have carved a name already in the community. Those are my strengths. My weakness is, as I have said earlier, we don't have programmer. Our manpower are mostly on job order, employment status. So there is no employee-employee relationship, and therefore they may leave me anytime. Okay, so opportunities. At this time of pandemic, there are so many opportunities for us because everything is being digitized now. So we have to grab those opportunities because this is timing. Okay, and threats. So there is a threat on COVID. So that means no face-to-face contact, which could also turn into opportunities. And also another threat is the infection. So there should be no face-to-face. So probably, I'm not sure if you're going to open your center for walk-in clients or for learning, since our classes would depend on the kind of quarantine status that we are having. Okay, so like in our case, Quezon province is on MGCQ, but then Mauban is currently having a community transmission of COVID. Therefore, we cannot say that we are on MGCQ. We are just coming out from ECQ because of the community transmission, and that's a big threat for us. Okay? So we have to identify, or we have to do the SWOT analysis. Then after that, we have to define our strategy. A strategy is a plan of action or policy designed to achieve our mission and our vision. So our mission and our vision are big dreams. That's our big targets. That's our main goal. So how do we go to our main goal is coming up with a strategy. What are the step-by-step strategies that we can do to go to that vision or to attain that vision? Okay, so for example, 2 years ago, one of our vision is to have our e-learningville and the library to be put together and to have our services on a 24/7 basis. Okay, so what were the strategies we have taken into consideration? First, I talked with the Sangguniang Bayan because the library is under the Sangguniang Bayan. So we forged we had a partnership with Sangguniang Bayan so that we can work together, we can put together the program of the legislative body and the program of the executive body into one. And so we were able to have the library together with eLearningville. And then next, so I needed more air conditioners, more computers, because we have a bigger space, we need more fixtures, table, chairs, and everything like that. So then, what are the strategies that I have to have so that we could have enough budget for that? So having said those things that we needed, we forged partnership with, for example, with Quezon Power. So they provided me with computers, with DICT for additional laptop for our business, for our co-working spaces, and then with DOST for the Starbucks. So those are written strategies that we have made so that we may be able to attain our vision. Okay? So strategies are step-by-step procedures that you have to do to attain your vision. Okay, so how do we formulate our strategy? So first, as I've said earlier, we have to know our vision or our roadmap. Where do you want to go? Then what are the things to be done? It's a step-by-step process. Or how do we implement our plans? So I have given you an example already earlier. Okay, so it is important also to know your time frame. Is the services that I'm going to give urgent? Is it continuous? Or is it temporary? Or will it be sustainable? Of course, the issue of sustainability, you cannot answer that right away because there needs a lot of commitment. Okay, but there is a secret to sustainability. In establishing your center, it is very important that you have the Sangguniang Bayan Ordinance in the establishment so that you will not be affected in the change of administration. Also, if you are collecting fees, it is important also to have a Sangguniang Bayan Ordinance because we cannot just collect fees without having it in an ordinance. Then in the ordinance, please make sure that you mention there where are you going to put the income of your center. So in our case, what we did was to enumerate that the income of the center will go to a trust fund and that will be used for the training and conferences of the manpower, and then for the maintenance operating expenses, for the purchase of peripherals, computer peripherals, and so on and so forth. So doing that, we were able to collect, we were able to allocate the budgetary requirements for everything that we needed to do. Okay, so that is one of our secret why we have reached our 9 years now, and we were able to have money to finance some of our plans and programs. One of the major program that we have financed is the sponsorship, or it's a collaborative effort of eLearningville and the ICT on rural impact sourcing. We were able to have 15, 20 trainees to attend, to participate, and the LGU counterpart were shouldered by Mauban eLearningville. That was a big help to the local government unit. Okay? Then, at this time of pandemic, there are so many opportunities. So how do we make viable and sustainable plans? So we need to be very receptive with the needs in the community. Then how do we develop strategic risk management plan? I realized that it is very important for us to have this strategic risk management plan. We have to plan ahead of time. We have to think of the safety of everyone ahead of time. Of course, we were surprised by the pandemic. We were thinking of strategic management, disaster risk management plans for typhoon, for earthquake, landslide, and so on and so forth. But I myself did not even thought that there will be this COVID-19 or pandemic. Okay, so those are things that we need to incorporate doing the SWOT analysis. Okay, so preparing for the new normal or the risk reduction, we have prepared our center already, putting on barriers, plastic barriers, so that we will be able to have the social distancing measures that we needed to implement. Okay, because this setup has been done already. We are thankful that we have a new partnership program with Quezon Power Plant and San Buenaventura Power Plant for their scholarship training with TESDA. So their online trainings for their students will be held or conducted at Mauban e-learning Ville. So that's one thing we look forward with, okay, for the new normal. And that would be by September or October this year. Then the other services that we can offer at this time of pandemic, as we have done already, are the following. We issued Upper ID and Upper Diary. So Upper ID, we have two kinds. This pink one is for those people living outside Mauban but working inside Mauban. And this one is for those living in Mauban but working outside Mauban. And we have this Upper Diary wherein they log in every travel that they have with their temperature check and their companions and then so forth. So we are issuing this kind of IDs and Upper IDs at Mauban e-learning Ville. Then we also printed and helped the DSWD about their SAP forms. Okay. Then actually Mauban e-learning Ville right now is like a BPO. Like I've said earlier, we issue Upper IDs online, we issue transport clearances, we are mapper or documenter for COVID-19 updates in the municipality. Some of our staff are contact tracer because of the rise of number. Or, in July 25, that was our first time to have our first patient positive, July 25. And in 1 month time, we already have 115 positive cases in the municipality. And to date, we have more than 131 positive cases in the municipality. But one thing good is that because of the contact tracer that we have, we were able to test. So most of our COVID positive are asymptomatic, but because they are tested, we were able to identify them. Then around 48% of our COVID positive are asymptomatic, 42% has mild symptoms, and then the others are confined in the hospital. But one thing good we are really thanking the Lord is we have no mortality rate and we have a high rate of recovery in the municipality. So I think that is because also we have a very active and committed contact tracer other than the test. Okay. Also, before the pandemic, we were able to have a partnership with DICT for our co-working space and also with FITS Language to train our people on ESL, learning English a second language. And supposedly, we are going to give them a space in our center wherein they can teach English online during the night. But then, because of the pandemic, only few of them has internet connection at home. So we provided them or we lent them the computers or the laptops given by DICT, and then we paired it with a good quality headsets so that they can pursue their online English teaching. So that's one of the services that we offer now in Mauban e-learning Ville. Also, we provide a co-working space for women because as I have said earlier, we are experiencing a community transmission I am giving the space to other people who needs a space. Okay, so outside our, or at the entrance of our e-learning ville, we have it's quite huge space wherein we conduct Zoom virtual meetings for our farmers or for those who do not have internet connectivity at home. Okay, if they have Zoom meetings or virtual meetings, we provide them with a space and connectivity, and so they could spend their meetings there. Okay, it's an open space. That's why we can accommodate more people there. Okay. Then also one of our services is hosting the meetings of the LGU. So if you will go to Mauban News every day, you will see my face in all the meetings because I host every meetings. We do not have face-to-face meetings anymore. All of our meetings are via or virtual meetings because we wanted to contain the virus. And so we are able to maximize our programs and services in the LGU. Looking forward, we wanted to establish barangay centers for education, e-health, and other e-services. Right now, the reason why we wanted to have barangay e-centers is that because so that our students will have the access through the barangay e-centers. And also, we are now into telemedicine. So we wanted to help the barangays so that the people in the barangays will not go to the poblacion anymore. And of course, in the LGU, we have limited our face-to-face transactions already. So most of our services now are online services. So we want to give access to the community by establishing e-centers in the barangay. On a personal note and reflection on planning, it is said that a goal without a plan is just a wish. But sometimes our plans may not fit with the situation. Then we need to be creative and innovative to still reach our main goal. Amidst COVID, let us serve our purpose in our respective communities, which is to provide access, to serve the unserved, and to reach the unreached. Thank you very much and good day to all.
Thank you, Prof. Bal, for discussing with us how to plan for eCenter viability and sustainability. No wonder the Mauban e-learning ville has become a Center of Excellence awardee. Your planning and activities are indeed viable and sustainable. The formulation of your strategy is quite remarkable, involving all aspects of the government and areas of concerns. Yeah. Ma'am Bal, please join me for the open forum. And to our viewers, please join and interact with us by posting your questions through the open forum link in the description box below. Okay, so let's see. Ma'am Bal, are you ready for our first question?
Yes.
Okay, let's have the first question then. What are the tips or advice can you give to the eCenter managers in making eCenters viable and sustainable?
Okay, thank you for that question. Sir Richard, I think the most important plan that you can make for your e-center would be different from one e-center to another because our community would have different needs from one another. So to create something that is viable and sustainable, so you have to make plans that will make you an essential part of your community. So make programs and services that will make you an essential part of the community, especially at this time of pandemic.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very unique for every center as you have or you're facing different ordeals in different areas of the country.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you for that. Let's see how can we respond to our second question. if DepEd made a memorandum with your organization and help in the learning continuity plan? Wow. And how can your organization help to serve the unserved and reach the unreached? From
Okay.
Henry, DepEd.
Yes. Thank you, Henry. In Mauban, we do not have a memorandum of agreement with DepEd yet, but then we have a community college here, and we have, or should I say that I am part of that community college, and we are forging a partnership agreement already on that because we will be offering a modular and an online classes. So that's our plans. That's part of our plans in Mauban.
And then with regard to reaching the unreached, no? How
Yeah.
is Bauban e-learningville doing this?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, we've started already to go to the remote barangays, like to the indigenous people, wherein we trained the dumagats on how to use the computer. And actually, it paved way to another level, because we were able to encourage the dumagats to further their learning, like they enrolled in college now because they saw they saw na hindi lang pala yung mga taga-bayan yung dapat na nag-aaral hanggang kolehiyo because they themselves can learn the computer, so pwede silang makipagsabayan. Yun yung parang naging gauge nila when we went to the barangay to offer them computer or digital literacy.
Wow, that's a very touching move.
Yeah.
Nakaka-boost ng moral yan, lalo na sa mga taga-rural areas.
Yes. And also, so Richard, I'd like to add, it is important also to reach those senior citizens and the PWDs. When you say the unserved and unreached, sometimes they are the part of that society or they are the sectors na hindi masyadong nabibigyan ng attention. So we also give them digital literacy and we offer them help as well. Also to mention na kanina dun sa slides ko, kasi ngayon talagang we are digitizing everything. And even the farmers, they have webinars. But they do not know how to use the computers for the webinars. So,
Right.
so we are providing a space and we are helping them by hosting their webinars. So in our eCenter here in Mauban.
Magandang course yan, no? Hosting webinars.
Yes.
Okay, baka pursue natin yan in one of the technical sessions for
Oh,
our
sure.
participants. Let's see if we have another question. If SWOT process doesn't work, what are the other strategies?
Okay. Actually, I don't know
Perhaps you have
why.
other strategies used for planning other than SWOT.
Yeah, actually, ang favorite part ko talaga sa planning lagi is yung environmental scanning eh. Knowing what the kung ano yung kailangan talaga ng community namin. And I think that makes me, or gives us an impact in the community, knowing na para kaming SM, you've got it all sa e-learning. Parang gano'n. Parang ganun yung slogan, na parang, ngayon, ang nangyayari dito sa amin sa Mauban, pag may naiisip sila na programs or kailangan nila na ICT-based, so they will always think na, sa e-learning pwede yan. So like for example, at this time of pandemic nga, when the SWD needed to print thousands of SAP forms, they have thought agad na, sa e-learning ba pwede? Yes, we can. So, nag-adjust kami ng work schedule na dati kasi pandemic noon, so medyo restricted ang paglabas. So, ang ginawa namin para ma-fast track ang pagbibigay ng SAP, 24/7 kami nag-print ng SAP forms. So, like that, you have to adjust with the situation. And the timing that I was saying earlier is really very important kasi you have to be relevant at the right time. So that is one of the strategies that we make, yung relevance at the right time.
I like that. Relevance in the right time.
Yes.
And that is practically responding beyond your call of duty.
Yes.
Sige, let's again remind our participants, so to all our viewers, please join and interact with us by posting your questions through the forum link in the description box below. All right, let's have the next question. Hi, ma'am. How can we measure the effectivity of our mission and vision through online? From Mercy Bangug.
Yes. Okay, Ma'am Mercy. We can always measure our effectivity through online. Measurement of our effectivity needs to be, we need to have an evaluation actually. So you have to ask your users or your clients to help you evaluate your services or your products if you have products. Because in our case, in Mauban e-learningville, we have products eh. Alam niya ni Sir Richard, we are very enterprising. Negosyante po kami sa Mauban, ano? So like, nagpiprint kasi kami ng mga PVC IDs. Especially right now, ang dami ngayon ng mga kailangan ng IDs. We realize in our community, ang dami palang mga members in the community do not have ID. And ID now is very important. So, yun, then you can ask your clients online siguro if okay yung kanilang, if okay yung services na nabibigay nyo. So in our case also, because we have online services, we appreciate their evaluation, their comments, and recommendations. So I think that's the only thing that's we can do to measure our effectivity online.
Yeah. And probably the type of measurement is somewhat should be aligned with your original objectives, di ba, ma'am?
Yes, yes. Actually, I'm about to say nga din na, di ba, before the pandemic, we already have plans eh, di ba, for our centers. So ngayon, nagkaroon kasi tayo ng problema. Ngayon, meron tayong pandemic. So what we have to do is to align those programs na hindi natin masasagasaan yung mga health protocols na meron tayo ngayon. And of course, so like in our case, di ba, we have been providing computer literacy for a long time. So parang, paano yun ngayon? Eh, we cannot allow people to come to eCenter for the training. So one thing we did is, yun nga, nag-put kami ng barriers. Kasi kapag MGCQ, pwede na kaming mag-entertain ng 50%. Diba? So that is aligning our plans. Then also, yung mga knowledge workers natin sa center, I asked them na to make video presentations for online learning ng mga softwares. Kasi ngayon, parang everybody has to learn how to use StreamYard, Zoom, and Google Meet, and so on and so forth for the online classes. And of course, hindi naman lahat ng mga teachers alam nila agad yan, di ba? So, that's something like na parang pwede nating ituro or i-align during this time of pandemic. Yung mga plans natin noon, medyo i-realign natin ng konti para mag-serve siya ng purpose at this time.
Precisely. Yeah. Mambal, baka may question pa tayo dito. Let's see.
Yes po.
From Sir Rex Adivoso Bernardo. Hi, ma'am. Hi. Is your eCenter equipped with NVIDIA or JAWS for the blind to access your computers?
Actually, wala pa kami niyan ngayon.
Interesting, because
yes.
I think some centers already have initiated making their centers blind-friendly.
Yes. And that's good, to have that kind of project.
Right. And looks like sa center po nila Sir Rex ay NVIDIA and JAWS yung ginagamit. Not sure, but the question is somewhat implying that.
Yeah.
Sige, let's see if we have another question. Magandang i-look forward yung ganong opportunity. How did the Mauban e-learningville start? What are the things you did for your first year? Interesting to Mauban e-learningville. Sige ma'am, kwento.
Okay. Nako, naalala ko tuloy. Nasad ako bigla kasi si Ma'am Marina died. She's very instrumental to the establishment of our center in Mauban. Actually, when we had the eCenter in Mauban, hindi ito kasama sa plans ng LGU. So parang biglaan siya. And because of that, there's no budget for the center. And I would say na yan yung laging problema sa government. We lack budget. So what we did was to go to NCC, the National Computer Center at that time. Now they are the DICT, and applied for the opening of Community eCenter. And there was no slot for Region 4 at that time. And sabi ni Ma'am Marina, there is a slot for Region 2, pero mayroong trick. Kailangan 2 days from that visit, mag-attend ako ng technical training for center managers. So very supportive yung aking LCE, pinayagan ako na mawala sa opisina at ma-train for 1 week. So in that training, I realized, kasi hindi po talaga ako IT person. So it's quite a challenge for me. That's a threat for me, and that's a weakness also on my part. So during the training, I learned na hindi para sa isang center managers, kasi alam ko, Sir Richard, marami dyan center managers, hindi talaga IT person, ano? I realized that you don't have to be an IT person to become an eCenter manager, but rather, you have to be a good manager or a leader in your community. So, yun yung naging baon ko sa pag-start ng Mauban eLearningville, and I forged partnership with other stakeholders in the community. So one is PLDT, our sponsor today. So they were the first one to give me 20 furbished computers. So alam mo yon, yung dahil nakipag-partner ako sa PLDT, right away meron akong 20 computers in my center, 'di ba? Tapos, yes, and I partnered with UPOU and Quezon Power Plant for our Teachers Development Program. So instantly, I have a program na distance learning wherein yung mga scholars namin na teachers, if they don't have internet access at home or they don't have computers at home, they go to eLearningville and they do their exams and other stuffs of school requirements in Mauban eLearningville. So that's how I started Mauban eLearningville. I really forged partnership with almost everybody in the community. Parang tinatanong ko sila, magkakaroon kami ng ganitong program, do you want to join? Parang ganyan. And so this has become not my project, but the community's project. Kaya pag sinabi mo dito na Mauban eLearningville, it's not about me. It's about the community. Pag-aari po ito ng community. Kaya hindi pwede mawala.
Ang galing! Community talaga yung center. It's being
Yes.
run not just by a few people, but the entire community.
So Richard, I'd like to add pala, no? There was a time noon I was making a survey. So I was asking some students and teachers what will be their thoughts kung mapapasara yung Mauban eLearningville. So yeah, I asked this question kasi I was thinking na what if in the change of administration, di ba? That's one thing na dapat natin laging pag-isipan eh. So, nagtatanong lang ako ng ganon, lahat, yung response ng mga tao, lahat ganito, hindi po pwedeng isara yun kasi mawawalan kami ng access sa computer, mawawalan kami ng access sa internet, paano na ang projects namin, paano na yung mga school needs namin, paano na yung ganito. So, with that question, with that answers, yung reply nila, I realized that Mauban eLearningville now has become part of their lives. So parang yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na when you create or when you make your plans or services, create something that will make your center part of the community.
Ang ganda. I bet that was your original vision to begin with.
Yes.
And it all starts with vision, visioning. Ano ba yung gusto
Yes.
mo makita sa center mo in the future? And that is made possible with all the efforts that you do.
Yes, because we have said in our vision that we want to be the ICT hub in the municipality.
Bravo. ICT hub. Yeah, I think all the other e-centers watching right now can really look up to the Mauban eLearningville as a role model.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Maybe we have a few more questions.
Sure.
How did Mauban eLearning how did it last for almost 10 years? What are the good leadership and management you had applied? I think you were somehow able to answer this question while we were discussing the few earlier questions. Unless you have anything else to add?
Yeah, teamwork is the key. Teamwork. You work with your stakeholders.
Yes, teamwork. And your team is not just the team inside the center
Yes.
doing the maintenance, doing the lectures, but also the stakeholders who are
Yes.
also relying on the center.
Yes.
Very well said. Uh, Perhaps we have one more questions. One
Okay.
more question, yeah. How can we keep the sustainability of our e-center during the pandemic season? A very relevant question. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Actually, nung nag-pandemic, naisip ko kagad, Sir Richard, what will happen to my job order staff? Baka matanggal sila, baka mawalan ng trabaho, di ba? Parang ganyan. So, as I've said earlier, make programs that are relevant. So, that is forging partnership with everybody in the community. Ano yung need ng community? Yun lagi yung sinasabi ko no? Ano yung need ng community that we can offer? So, that's the reason why ang dami kong na-share earlier na ano yung mga services na pwede nyong ibigay. Because, kung masaserve mo yung mga services na yun or mabibigay mo yung products na kailangan nila at this point of time, then you will become sustainable.
Yes.
Kasi sustainability is being on the part of the need of the community.
Right. Recognizing the need and adjusting to
Yes.
that need.
Yes.
And I like what you said, being relevant at the right time.
Yes.
Very well. I think that's the last question that we have for today, Prof. Bal. I'll just request one more before we move forward with our next segment. And that is, what would be your piece of advice for the other e-centers out there who are watching us today to be able to start going or start doing the plans that are sustainable and viable?
Okay. So, I already said earlier and paulit-ulit lang talaga na talagang tingnan nyo kung ano yung need ng community mo. That's first. Then second is, look for people around you, the stakeholders. Sino yung makakatulong sa'yo and who can be your partners. Then you work with them in planning. Kasi if you work with them in planning, they will help you also to implement your plans. And I believe na kapag naka-create tayo ng mga plans that will make you an essential part of your community, then you will be able to make viable and sustainable plans for your centers. That's all, sir.
Thank you so much, Prof. Bal. It's really been a pleasure having you with us
Thank you so
today's
much.
webinar and for the conference on KEC 15. Yeah, before I turn over to Angel, let me just emphasize that those who are going to win the raffle prize later on, you have to send the email today before the webinar ends. And shown on your screen is the email address where you'll be sending this to. Again, before the webinar ends to qualify as the winner. Otherwise, we will be giving away that for the next webinar's raffle if you did not claim your prize. All right, Ma'am Dan, once again, thank you so much for the piece of wisdom that you've shared with us and your exquisite planning for viability and sustainability.
Thank you so much.
I now turn you over to Angel. Back to you, Angel.
Thank you po, Dr. Richard. And thank you so much din po, Ma'am Bal, for this very relevant and helpful topic today. Due to this pandemic, a lot of organizations, businesses, and even community centers closed down. So the sustainability of our efforts were so confronted and challenged. No one expected this to happen, di ba po? No one has planned for this to happen, but that's why many of us or some of us were paralyzed due to this pandemic. Our community needs the e-centers, so we need to stay relevant and resilient to serve them. So with planning, with planning, we can face our battles with victory in mind. So thank you po, Ma'am Bal from Mabuban E-Learningville. E-Learningville, ladies and gentlemen, is a center of excellence, and Miss Bal has been a mentor to many eCenter forerunners. So if you want to learn from her and from their eCenter, you can follow them on Facebook. So thank you also to Dr. Richard for moderating this session today. So before we end this webinar, I will be announcing the winners for today's raffle draw. So please stay with us. So reminder to our winners, email us before the session ends so you can claim your prizes or else it will be forfeited. So we now move on to awarding of certificates. Okay. So we will award the certificate to, for a moment. Let me read the citation. Right. Let me read the citation. Philippine Community eCenter Network Incorporated 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference. eCenters in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal Certificate of Appreciation is given to Conchita Marta B. Mirabueno in recognition of her participation as resource speaker in the planning for eCenter viability and sustainability live streamed on September 3, 2020 via YouTube live stream. And thank you so much for now on behalf of our sponsors, organizers. Thank you for sharing to us your experience that's worth almost a decade. All right. So now we're going to announce the raffle draw winners. If you think it's you, can you just comment? If you're still watching us and you think you're the winner for our raffle draw today, can you just comment? Comment mine. All right. So to claim your prize, you must send an email to the secretariat. Okay, I think you can see that on screen, yeah. secretariat@philsecnet.org with the subject raffle claim, your complete name, and your network provider. Remember to send using the same email address you used during the registration. Again, you do not need to register for each and every webinar. You only have to register once to experience the entire conference and get a chance to win at our raffle draw. You will receive a separate link for each webinar. So the winners, here we go. The winners of cell cards worth 300 pesos are as follows. Congratulations, Christian Borja, Perry Solis Valderrama, Roda Esconde, Vicente Eduardo Molina. Congratulations, you have a prize of 300 peso worth of load. So if you're here with us, can you just comment on our stream? And please don't forget to email the PhilSecNet Secretariat right away so that your load card won't be forfeited. So for those who won't be able to claim their load cards today, that same load card will be given away next week. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds. And now the winners of cell cards worth 500 pesos are as follows. Congratulations, Jonel Maria Caba, Albert Navarra, Paula Sacamos, and Kenneth Celerio. Congratulations, you are the winners for the 500 peso worth of load. So don't forget to email the Secretariat with the address and raffle claim, your full name, and the email provider. Congratulations to our winners. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our third webinar entitled Planning for eCenters Viability and Sustainability. Join us again next Thursday for our next webinar. As we come to close today's activity, please watch the closing video for a few more reminders. This has been Angel, and on behalf of our organizers, PhilSecNet and the DICT, and our sponsors and other co-organizers supporting our activity today, This has been the 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference with the theme eCenters in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal, a webinar series from August 20 to November 26, 2020. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Goodbye for now and have a blessed week.